We are in Fullerton today. We're taking out a garage floor. Pretty basic. Back in the 60s, they didn't put rebar in it. They didn't join it. It all cracked. They, it's just a footing poured. They pour the footing like this. You can see the gap. Come over here. And then they pour the slab separate. So this is, you don't have to saw cut. It's not connected to this. But I'm going to drill into this and then tie it to the slab so it'll be all one piece. Monolithic style. And 20 by 20 standard, pretty basic. There's the tractor and rig. I'm gonna take it down. You just throw all the shit up there.
Yeah, no problem. Good morning.
So we are in Fullerton, California. Thank you for tuning in to the Best in the West. I'm taking the tractor down. I brought the case because with the price of diesel and the dump fees, it's like a futile effort for me to haul 2 loads and put $200 in my truck and pay the dump fees. And I just call it 10-wheeler and a one load. So it was actually the same price. So it's not paying off hauling your own loads right now with the prices of stuff. So that's how I carry my breaker in my bucket like that. I put it inside. I'll take the bucket off and drop the breaker up over the bucket, and then I hook the bucket up because I only have the dump trailer to carry it, and I gotta have both of them on it. So that's how I do it. And I'm gonna hook all this up here. That's a case 420. So if it's a Bobcat, it would be an S160, and that's a 550-pound Susan hammer. So generally, I just grease the tractor one time in the morning, and I hit the breaker. Even if I brake for 5 or 6 hours, I'll rarely re-grease it. So Kristen usually does it all. She knows when it was done, and we generally, like I said, just do it in the morning. We'll be taking out a garage floor. There it is. There's Richie. He comes out with me and helps me out. Standard garages in California are generally about 21 by 20 or 22 by 19 or 20 by 20. They're generally 5 yards, 5.5 yards. There's nothing hard about it. All you need is a tractor and a breaker and a bucket, and that's about it. I mean, you don't need 5 guys and a saw and a claw or beak or whatever it is, and pallet forks and a jackhammer. It's just stupid. If that's how you're doing it, you're not too bright. This is like 20 minutes it took me to break it out, and I loaded it in probably another 20. So it's like a 40-minute job to demo it out, and then I just grade it real quick. You got to drill dowels in it because back in the day, they didn't pour them as one hooked with the footing. So you drill into it. The dowels that you cut with the burr side, you pound that side in because you can't get it out. It locks it in. There's nowhere it's going to go anyway because all 4 sides are locked in. There's nowhere for it to go. Maybe raise up, which won't happen because the soil is really nice. I look at the soil when I demo it out. If it's all murky and wet, then I'll do a different attack. I'll mix some sand in it with Portland cement and cure it up and dry it up. So when you come and break these, when they're locked in, meaning no sides in the open, all 4 corners are locked, it's tight. So you want to open up a corner and let some of the pressure off. It makes a little bit of popcorn that you have to rake up after, but it's not the end of the day. It's not a big deal. So I'll open it up. I'll just pry and I'll lift straight up so the piece doesn't fly. And I'll open that corner up, and then maybe I could have put a couple holes on the center to relieve some pressure. But this, I mean, you just mash right through this basically. It's not anything difficult. I do it by myself, like I said, in 40 minutes. And when you do that, don't pry the bucket forward when you're up against that because it'll hit the drywall. So I just lift straight up. I'll like push forward a little bit with the tractor and then lift up. I don't move the breaker, the hammer position that I'm in. And it'll just come straight up and then you can back out. I don't fling the breaker forward is what I'm saying. See how I do it? Once it's sliding up the breaker, I'll just move forward, then I'll back out. So I've already got it unlocked. Now it's just gangbuster. I'll be pouring this Monday. I did this on a Monday this week. I'll be pouring Monday because they're going to put some plumbing in their sink, and there's a plumber coming in to do some stuff. Washer and dryer evidently, and some other stuff. But this is all basic. If you're going to break or you're going to get on anything, you can just watch how I do it. You don't need to watch anyone else how to go about it. And you don't need any help either. See, I'll push them forward to get it up in a pile, but you don't want to push it too far forward Cause I could have used the Mini if I was gonna, my S70, if I was gonna load my trailer. But at the last minute, I called a 10-wheeler in and I loaded this tractor. But I could have done this very easily with an S70. This fits in perfect. You have a couple inches in every garage, about 3 inches over where the garage door opener is. So you just have to be conscious of where that thing's at when you're in the center.
All right, so we've already broken up the whole entire.
That was precision braking.
Just waiting on the dump truck.
Yeah. So here's what I did. Let me show. Come in here. I broke the whole thing out around the perimeter, around the edges, and I left this here so I don't jack this driveway up, coming up and off. So I'll go in there straight in, grab a bucket, back all the way to the street, turn and load it. And then when all this concrete's done, I'll back in here and I'll just pick these up, boom, and drive straight out. I never turn anywhere. So I go straight in, grab a bucket, get to the street, turn, load the dump truck.
Perfect.
And then when I'm done, I come in this way. Grab it this way, boom, and lift it out.
Keeps everything clean.
Easy breezy.
So here we are. We're just gonna drill the dowels while we have some openings. We just marked them with a crayon up above the existing concrete so we can come around and drill them. So when we get all the concrete out, he's already got half of them drilled. Probably he's got that West Coast hat on. It's making it easy. So these on my tractor, there's a little weld dot that you have to line up to pop them off. And if you've been using it for hours and hours, it's going to be screaming hot. But I just broke for 15-20 minutes, so they're not even hot. I just use a rag because I don't like to get grease or hydraulic fluid on me. It really arcs me out. It bothers me. So I know how to do all the mechanics, everything on it, but I can't handle the grease and oil and stuff. So I just generally don't do it. Once you get them lined up, they'll pop right off. I just don't have them lined up. I have to go find it and twist it to find out to line it up. But sometimes these couplers will get worn out. It'll start leaking out out of the fitting. So I have a backup, a top and a bottom, male and female. So if one of them starts leaking or busts, I just switch it off. You got to use 2 crescents and take that fitting off and put a new fitting on it. But I always carry an extra set with me in my trailer. So we're waiting on the truck. It should be here any minute. My buddy was running a little late. So what I did today, I demoed it out. I graded it. I drilled all the dowels. And then I went and got the rebar and the expansion foam. And I left it because they got to dig in the garage to put the plumbing in. So I didn't put the rebar in. I'll just come back when they're done with the plumbing and throw it in 20 minutes and then pour it. It's a nice tractor. It's a 2007 case. It's only got about 1,100 hours on it, maybe. It's in really good shape. I'm the only person that's ever ran it. So the equipment I tend to have and I just run is usually mint. It runs really good. So I can hear stuff on it. Because I know mechanics and stuff. So I keep it up pretty good. I keep an eye on the oil filters, everything on it. But overall, it's a good tractor. I like the Bobcat feet and hands better, but this is pilot controls. So I'm going to start scooting this stuff back so I can get in there and just scrape it. Some of it was only not very thick, so I'll barely take a little dirt in a couple buckets and I'll re-rake the whole thing to get the grade nice. But this is how you do stuff and make it not only look easy, it is easy. There's nothing really hard about it once. It's about how you go about it. Like I see guys with pallet forks. I've seen bozos with jackhammers jacking a hole, getting under it with pallet forks. I don't understand. I mean, they make a hydraulic hammer specifically for breaking concrete. And it's like, you can have a 550-pound hammer or an 800-pound hammer opposed to a 60-pound jack. I'm not that good at math, but I can figure out the different pounds of that. Unless I'm counting money, then I'm like a genius. So you don't want to plow in too hard because you don't want it to hit the drywall, a piece to fly into it, which has happened to me before, especially when I'm in a hurry. When I used to run a Bobcat service, I'd be running job to job, and sometimes I would break stuff just because I'm going too fast or I'm tired or something. This is only about 5.5 yards, I'd say. It's probably a half a load, something like that. The solid tires, when you turn sometimes, if you don't feather the controls and have the bucket up, it kind of hops a little bit. So I usually put the bucket up about eye level when I turn on the street. And I just come in from the street, I come straight in, grab a bucket, I pull back straight out in the street, and then I back all the way around and I just go forward and load it. I don't turn much. I rarely turn in the grade. As little as possible, I really pay attention to how I'm going to go about it and the path I take, and I take the same path every bucket. I go about it the same way. Like I don't turn in the dirt here, I don't turn on the driveway, I don't turn in the street, I back all the way around facing the truck and I just go forward and load. Like that. And it does help on your tires and stuff, you know, the less you turn in the street. Pretty simple demo. Nice day out, 80-degree day. See, there's the popcorn I'm talking about. And you really, if you had a smooth bucket, you could get up against the footing and get a little bit more. But with the teeth, it stops, you know, 4 or 5 inches away from the footing. So you might as well just rake it and put it in a pile and then shovel it in the bucket. It's not even probably a half a bucket of popcorn and rubble and debris like that. But you can get the corners. You can basically get it all. With a Mini, I could get the whole thing. You know. But with the teeth on this bucket, it doesn't. I can't get flush up against the footing, so you're going to rake it anyway. And why risk hitting the wall? And there's was a water heater over there and stuff, so I didn't want to go in there. So I just broke it. And then I just tapped it and put cracks all through it, and then just lift it up with a pick or whatever, and then throw it in the bucket. So we hand loaded probably a full bucket off the whole job of the popcorn in this corner. There's the best in the West, boys. That'll do it. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to back in, like I was saying earlier. I left about 3 feet against the garage, against the driveway, and now I'll back in and I'll just lift them up in big pieces. Straight out. This was wedged in there pretty good, and I didn't want to hit the shaft for the garage door opener. Usually I can pop a piece out. I should have came at an angle and just grabbed one, but I tried to grab two. I don't know why. When I was watching this, when I saw it stuck like that, I could have just put the teeth on one and lifted one out, like this right here, like I'm probably gonna do. No, I'm going for it. The best in the West does not back down. There we go. And then I'm up on that high piece, so I was worried about I might clip the top there, but Kristen was in front, Richie, and told me, no, you're good. It's hard to see it sometimes, and you don't want to do something stupid and rip the header or something. Now you got to replace that or something, or tell them it was like that when you got there, one or the other. I don't know. See, I'll just come and grab them in big pieces like that. And then you whack the sides where the railing is for the garage door with a sledge and just pull it out with a lift it up with a pick and slide it out. Thank you very much for watching The Best in the West.